Hi Stampers, welcome. It's Lisa with Queen Bee Creations here today with our live demonstration. We're going to be doing a class on a new stamp set. Every week I pick a new stamp set, and this week we're working with Friendly Gnomes, and we're making an adorable little treat container. I've had somebody ask me recently to do a few more 3D projects because with Valentine's Day coming up, it's a great time to have little gift ideas ready. And while a lot of the things I used for stocking stuffers can just be reconfigured and done as Valentine's gifts, I still have more ideas. So we're going to play with more stuff. So welcome everyone. I am so glad you're here. Hopefully you've gotten to really get yourself familiar with our new catalog. The new mini catalog for January through April is in full swing. And this stamp set, while it's one of the stamp sets that's in here on page 40, the dies are actually a carryover from our July to December catalog. So here are the gnomes on page 40, and you'll see they have this little colored background behind them. And what that means is there are coordinating dies. Now, this is a new stamp set, but it was listed as a stamp set in the back. There were no dies. Well, those dies are a carryover. So it's these ones right here. They're called the gnome dies, and they coordinated during the Christmas season with the kindest gnomes. So if anybody has the kindest gnomes bundle already, it's kind of a no-brainer to add on this one because they go together so well. You have male and female, you have spring, you have winter. We can, obviously these guys, they don't have anything too wintry on them that you couldn't, make them fall or summer. But these guys have, he's got a heart and he's got flowers. So they are a little more springish, but they work really well together as a like super bundle almost. Welcome everyone. Yes, happy Monday. Connie's right on the ball. She entered in hashtag prize patrol. And the reason she did that is because that gets you into the drawing to win today's prize. And the prize is usually what I'm working on. So the prize would be the 3D treat holder. And because it's 3D, it's a little harder to ship. So it would probably be the pieces and you glue it together yourself. But I can still send that, but you would put in hashtag prize patrol, all one word, no spaces, all of that, and that would get you into the drawing. And I have a computer behind the scenes doing it so it doesn't catch typos. That's why I'm kind of particular about that, because it wants it exactly as it goes. Yeah. They can be Halloween people as well. Yes, I did see some really cute things with that. I even saw somebody who took one of the little gnomes and put antlers behind him, and somebody else put bunny ears. There were some cute little things. They dressed him up. And then the gnome, I saw somebody take the hat on the die, and they did it in the 3 different colors of white, yellow, and orange. So their hat looked like a candy corn. That's the word I'm looking for. It was super cute. So I love the little gnomes. I just think they are too cute. And I had been wanting to do something with the tags because I love to try to use the items that I purchased. That's the reason we get them, right? Is we use them. And I have not been using these enough. And I thought rather than do a box, this time we're going to just do the tag. And then I'm going to put a gusset between the middle. And I'm going to show you how I did that. I decided that I wanted these little Reese's treats to go on the inside. And they fit perfectly behind this die. So that was great. Then I took a ruler, which of course is not right in my hand. But I took the ruler and checked, and it's, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch. It's kind of taken up here. So if I make my gusset an inch wide, that'll hold it. And then this was about 2.5 inches long. So if I wanted it to be 1 inch thick, and then my gusset's 2.5 inches long, that helps me determine how big this piece is. So I knew that I wanted it to fold over and attach to my tag. So I needed 1/2 inch for that. So I took a piece of cardstock and I stuck it in my trimmer and I scored at 1/2 inch. Okay, then remember I said I wanted it to be 1 inch wide. So I took that 1/2 inch score mark and I put it on the 1 inch line and I scored again. And then I cut it off at another 1/2 inch. So that made it 2 inches wide. Okay, so that got me my width. Now, then I went this way and I said, okay, I need it to be 2.5 inches deep. So I put it at the 2.5 and I scored. And then I went, okay, well, how wide are my little things here? Well, that was about 1.75 inches. So I brought my score line over to 1.75 inches and I scored again. And then I needed the second 2.5. So I brought the score line to 2.5 and I cut off. And so that gave me this piece. But that's how I came up with how big I wanted this to be, is I kind of worked it around this treat that I wanted to put on the inside. So if the treat was bigger or smaller, you could obviously adjust and have it fit whatever treat you wanted to put in there. And of course, if it was bigger than the tag, you'd obviously have to have, you know, a bigger something on this side rather than the tag. But now I'm just going ahead and taking a bone folder and I'm burnishing on all of the score lines. Okay, so this is going to be, like I said, my gusset that's going to go between the two tags. But I need this piece removed. So I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm just going to wedge the corners here. Okay, so what that did is it just took away some bulk in between. So this is going to allow this to come together much easier and not have issues, you know, down in the corner because there's too much cardstock there. I'm getting rid of the bulk in that corner. And it doesn't have to be exact. I just enough that it's not going to make a lump. I guess, does that make sense? Okay, then I needed to take my cardstock and we're going to run it through the die cutting machine with the tag. And I'm going to bring down my little mini again. There's been some discussion on the Stampin' Up! Websites about this little mini machine. Mine is fabulous. I absolutely love it. It goes through perfectly. Everything's nice and smooth. It's all good. Some people have said that they've had some issues with the platform not going through, because normally what you use is you use the number 1 and then one of the number 2s. Then you're going to put your cardstock and your die and then a number 2 on top again. And then some people have said, oh, well, you have to stagger the plates. And by staggering the plates, that means it's kind of giving it, I don't know, an arrow kind of thing into the machine so that it can grab. Now, I haven't had these problems, but just in case somebody has, I'm kind of telling you some of the solutions that have been floating around online. And if you ordered it as part of your kit and you're on my team, absolutely get a hold of me. We will get it all worked out and we will get yours working because they are fabulous. But one of the gals said, well, the number 1 plate doesn't go through for me. And so what she did is she just substituted and put the gray one in instead. So she did the gray the clear, the paper, and then the clear, and hers worked great. Even though it didn't work with the white, I guess the difference in the thickness between the white and the gray made it go through very smoothly. So it may be that you just need a slight adjustment in the sandwich. Hopefully not. Hopefully you got yours and it works flawlessly. That's always the goal. But if there are problems, rather than want to chuck it through the window, call me, send me an email, give me a message online, something, and we will get it worked out. Because Stampin' Up! Does stand behind all of their products, and that's one of the reasons why I love them. Is they make things that are high quality, that do not fall apart, and work well. So let's make sure they work well for you. Okay, so here are my two tags. So I have one for the front and one for the back, and then I have my gusset. We'll need to do some more die cutting for the pieces that go on it. But what I want to do now is I'm going to use tear and tape because I want a little bit of security. Tear and tape tends to be a little bit tougher or stronger, so that when this gets a lot of movement and, you know, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's played with more than a standard card. This being a tighter adhesive makes sure that things don't fall apart. Oops, let me go all the way to the end. So I'm laying tear and tape down all the way around. And then I want to take my tag and I'm going to set it right in here. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm putting it like right up to the edge of this score line. And then I'm centering it before I place it down. Okay, so it's like right on the edge and centered. Okay, then I'm going to come in and do the same thing on the other side. Right on that edge and centered. Okay. Then I want these to adhere on the sides. And for the most part, I pretty much just want to watch and see that I'm keeping it kind of straight. So it goes a little bit inside. So I guess I'm kind of lining it up right along with that stitching before I press it down and make sure it sticks. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to line it up right along that stitching line and adhere. Then we're ready for this side. Have I said lately how much I love this Take Your Pick tool? So useful. Okay, so now I'm just trying to make sure I don't stick where I don't want it to stick. Okay, so right along that edge. And then that leaves me with this one. And we're going to go right along that stitching edge. And that's it. You can take your bone folder and you can stick it in and just make sure that that adhesive is good and stuck on the sides. But pretty much that's your box. So then all you need is the ribbon, which we put through the top. And to make it kind of stay closed, I actually put a glue dot on either side of the hole and pushed it shut and then tied my ribbon through it. Now, because it's Valentine's Day, I went ahead and I stamped the Valentine's gnome out of this one, the little guy with the heart. So we can go ahead and do that one. And then I used some of the dies to create the little scene behind him. Oh, let's see, I think I have some out. Here we go. So I'm just going to use Memento Black because I'm going to color him in with Stampin' Blends. Somebody's asking if the problem with the cutting machine could have something to do with the weight of the paper. I don't think so because it's designed by Stampin' Up for Stampin' Up paper. So I don't think so. But I just know that I absolutely love mine. The blue one works perfect for me. And I want it to work perfect for you. So if we just need to change up the sandwich a little bit, that's a good fix. Okay, so I'm coming in and coloring his beard a little. And I'm using a light smoky slate. And it's kind of because I want to put a little bit of shadow, like his beard is white. And then I'm going to take and use my blending tool, this color lifter, and I'm just making small circles in hopes that I can take that gray and just move it around a little, which makes it lighter. This also works really well if you wanted to use colored pencils and you used a little bit of gray, then you would use your blender pen to blend it. So if you're using watercolor pencils, then you would blend it with one of these. Okay, but we're using Stampin' Blends, and so that's why I'm using the Stampin' Blends color lifter. Okay, so let's make his heart red. And so I'm using real red. I'm using the dark and the light. And then where they overlap, I'm making small circles so that it blends. And then if I wanted to, you can also come back in and give a little highlight in the middle by just doing a little lifting with the color lifter. But you can see a little bit of gradation in the color there, and that's from the blending. I'm going to use an ivory for his nose. Make his shoes in bronze. So he's got little loafers on or little work boots. And then I'm going to put him in blue jeans. So let's give him some dark Starry Sky. Could also use Night of Navy. Let's see. I'm going to color his hands, like the little mittens, in a little bit lighter color. So this is the Orchid Oasis. I want to call it Orchid Opulence, but that's like a really old color from a long, long time ago. Okay, then let's give him a red shirt. I'm going to come in with dark cherry cobbler so that it doesn't blend in with the heart. Definitely want it to be different. I don't know about the hat. Maybe we should make it blue like his bottoms. So I'm going to start out. I always start out with my dark. I know there's some preferences out there. Different demos will say they start with the light. Some start with the dark. I suppose it doesn't matter. It's whatever you're comfortable with, whatever works for you. But I usually take the dark and then I highlight all of the little markings that the artist put in there as shading because they went to art school, right? They know better than I do. So I'm going to go ahead and put the shading where the artist did. And then I'm going to come back in with the light and go over the entire thing. And I make circles to blend it. But you can go over the entire thing now, including the area you already colored, because it's not going to make any difference. Once you have the dark down there, then the dark stays, and we're just putting some light over the top of it, but it's still going to be your shading. So see where the dark is and the lighter is? Yeah, they are. They're very quick and easy, which is fun because I love to give little things to, the person at the coffee drive-through or the lady at the bank or the post office or, any of those places where you just want to give a little something. But, in this economy, we don't have a lot of money, so we don't have anything expensive we can do. And these are inexpensive, quick, and easy. And people love them. One of the girls on my team is actually going through chemotherapy, and she takes little treats to the ladies in the treatment center, to not only the nurses, but the other patients. I just think that is so sweet. Okay, so now I can die cut this one. So I'm going to bring in my dies and find the one that coordinates. I believe it's this one. So it's the same outline as the little guy that was holding the lantern over here. So the outside is the same, just rather than holding the lantern, he's holding the heart. And then I'm going to want to cut out, like I said, the scenery in the background. So I'm going to take out my grass and some. Let's make the mushrooms a lighter color this time. I think the cherry cobbler kind of got lost on there. But we can keep the stems in the crushed crumb cake. That's the word. And if you have this set, have you seen the one where I did the dancing gnome? We took the little feet and clipped them onto something that had a hole. So there was, a piece that went up like this from the legs, and then there was a hole, and we stuck a dimensional in there and then put the beard over the top, and that allowed the feet to swing back and forth. It was super cute. So you might want to go back and look for that other video for that. Although I might do another one this week because they're just so cute. And I have another box I'm doing on Thursday, but again, fairly quick and easy. So can probably show you both. Different plates. Oh, I see. I have two of the mini machines now because I had the white one and then I got the blue one. So there's a little gnome. Let's see. I want them all to fit on here at once. Kind of cutting the cardstock to fit. Put these back on my magnet. These little magnetic things and the pockets they go into, those are from Stampin' Storage. So if you're interested, there is an affiliate link on my website where you can get those. Okay, so now we're just building the little scene. Okay, and that started with, I wanted the little mushrooms in the background, so I'm going to lay those down first. And I'm going to put them up a little high because I know I want the grass to come in after. So this does not need to go to the bottom. I want room for the grass. And I probably should have done adhesive sheet on the back, but I didn't think about it. So I'm going to go very, very light with the glue. We could put our mushroom caps on. See, I like the contrast of that better. They pop a little more. Okay, so when you're building a scene, you kind of want to start out with what goes in the background. And you're doing that first, and then you're working your way forward. Unless, of course, you're masking. If you're masking, then you would put what you want, stamp that first, put your mask over it, and then stamp things. But when you're building in die cuts, it's from the back forward. Okay, so there's our little box. And then I just came in with some of the seam binding ribbon, and I cut it to a point so that I could use that point to feed through. And I kind of estimate about how much I'm going to need. And then I can cut. Preferably with a pair of scissors you do not use on paper, because they do wear the scissors different. So I have one pair of snips that are for paper and one pair that are for ribbon. And I get better results when I use the proper scissors. And for this, we have to freehand. We can't use the little bow maker tool, but it came out okay. If you're making bows for cards, then I recommend the little bow maker tool my husband makes. They are adjustable, and you can put your ribbon behind it. You kind of make a, I call it a cancer ribbon, but this crisscross with, you take the one that's on top and feed it through below, pull it up and over, and then just tie a knot. And then pull it off the stakes, and there's your perfect bow. So these are for sale on my website as well. It's on the same page now as all the tutorials. I decided to make it easy, and everything's just in the store. And then I'm working on a menu for the side where I'm going to separate the current stamp sets from the retired stamp sets, some of my husband's little wood making things, because he not only does the little bow maker tool, but he just added these. These are super cute. So there's a set of dice, and you just kind of shake them up and roll, and then that's what kind of card you would make. So this one says you're going to use twine or ribbon or punches or washi tape. So whatever that lands on. And then this one's colors. So whatever color family this lands on. Then this says it's either a card sketch, a fun fold, slimline, a shaker card. You know, so this is the type of card. This is the occasion. Thank you, birthday, masculine, sympathy, friendship. And then this one is a technique. So either embossing, masking, the baby wipes, Stampin' Blends, watercolor pencils. And then you make a card based on all these things. You would make a friendship shaker card using subtle colors, coloring with watercolor pencils, and adding ribbon. So just a fun idea. So, okay, so this was today's project. And I have some other things to show you, because I already have Thursdays scheduled up there. So you may have seen the photo, but it's another treat box. Let's see here. So this is it right here. And this actually holds 6 of the little Hershey miniature bars. And then this one opens up. And then the Hershey bars will fit inside. I'm actually going to head out to the store this afternoon and go pick up some to put in there. So Thursday, I will be able to show you how well they fit. So this is Thursday's little project, and this was today's. They're all done with the Gnomes bundle, the stamp set, and our carryover dies. I've also been playing around just with some cards. For this one, I used a Balmy Blue card base, and then I used our rectangle stitched dies. And well, first I put the white layer on, then cut out the center. Then I measured how wide this was, and I cut a strip just a little bit smaller. So they're 3/4 inch strips. So there's just a teeny tiny border in between them. And then I stepped down a size in the dies. And so I used the next size down for the blue, and then one down from that for the white. And then she's stamped directly on that. But I glued them to the inside. So these are on Stampin' Dimensionals inside. And it shows from the outside of the card. So cute, huh? And then I've got some more that I just started coloring. Lost her little friend. There's a guy around here somewhere. And then this one, I used a circle technique. This is using the layering circle dies. And I've done this before where I have pushed these all the way over this way and these all the way over this way so that the pink is on top of each other, and it makes a swirl. Well, this time I just butted them up against each other and put them on a larger white circle. So another fun idea. And there will be more to come because I started playing with them today and I was having fun. So I just kept playing. Okay, so who's ready for Prize Patrol? Has everybody entered that in? You want to do hashtag Prize Patrol, just like that, all run together, one word. No spaces, all one word. And then if you win, then I will send you the pieces you need to make today's cute little treat box. So let's do the drawing. Well, that was quick today. Just a little over half an hour. And I tried to go slow because I know sometimes you people are following along and I don't want you to get lost at all. So there we go. Lori is today's winner. Congratulations, Lori. You probably know you want to head over to my website, and at the end of the URL up in the address bar, you're going to add, after queenbeecreations.net, you're going to add in that URL bar where you type the address /prize patrol, and that's going to throw you over to the Google form where you claim your prize and give me the address is where you want it mailed. So thank you everyone for joining me. It was fun. I'm sorry it was so short. It was just easy. So hopefully I see you right back here on Thursday at 2:30 for our second little treat box and some more sneak peeks at things I did with the gnomes. Thanks. Bye.